but I just go like, God, imagine like the type of fanship. And then you watch shows of like this thing. And I go like, so it kind of inspired me of like, what if it was a wrestling character who was a super fan, who finally got this, it was a super fan of this one person and finally got this opportunity to be, and all they wanted to be was a WWE. Like it was the dream and all the things, but turned up to 11, you know, of like, what would that feel like? And what would that do? And then they kind of, I remember I wrote it, and then Michael Hayes said, hey, we read your storyline, we read your story idea in the meeting the other day. He goes, I was like, oh, really? I was like, well, what'd you think? He goes, well, I thought it was pretty good. He goes, but Vince loved it. And I was like, oh, really? He goes, yeah, well, I think this is me also thinking that Michael is ribbing me, because I talked to Michael several times before that. So he's like, I think you should go in there and walk in Vince's office. And I think you should tell him that you wrote that story and that you know that character and that's your character and nobody's going to be able to do it like you. And I was like, okay. He goes, all right. And then he walks off, and I'm like, this is probably about 4 p.m. in the day. So, and he came to me 2 or 3 times during the day going like, did you talk to Vince yet? And I'm like, no, I'm just an OVW little Lexus. I'm like, no, what? No, I have not talked to Vince yet, but I did. I waited outside. He goes, because he said, you need to just wait outside his office after the show. I said, okay. And I did. And I was sweating and so nervous, but I did. And I did exactly what he said. And I was like, I walked in, I was like, he was coming back to his office, and it was.
And you're still in OVW at this time,
I was.
Thinking that took so much for you to have the nerve to do that.
Yeah, I tell you what took even more nerve like, was trusting Michael Hayes.
Felt like it was going to be, honestly, the amount of time I was sitting outside of his office, just waiting there, I felt like there were cameras on me. Like this is a rib, just so that it's going to be replayed forever of like what's happening right now. And I just felt like it was an eternity that I was waiting for him. And he came back, and I was like, sir, can I have a moment of your time? And he said, absolutely. And I went in and I said what Michael told me to say. I was like, I heard you read my storyline. I heard you really liked it, and the whole thing. I just want you to know that I wrote that character inside and out. Nobody knows that character like me. Nobody's going to play that character like me. And if, you know, you need your next star, I got you, or whatever. And he just looked at me. He's like, you got balls, kid. And I go, thanks. Thank you. And I scampered out of his office, and I was like, oh my God. Right. And then I sat in OVW for another 6 months going, oh shit, what did I do? What did I do? And then they brought me in, and it was the same character, same story, but for Trish. And then it was off to the races. And did you
get any feedback after the meeting? So like you sat down there in OVW for 6 months. Did you have any feedback, or you thought, oh my goodness, I screwed up?
What did I do? Michael got me. Oh no, Vince hates me. He's like, I don't know. No, I didn't know. I was petrified. I was like, oh my God, what did I do? I'm on the axe.
Well, if somebody knows crazy, it's Michael Hayes.
Yeah.
Right. And crazy is what crazy does. And if somebody knows crazy, it might be Mickie James. I don't know.